G'day, Stephen Carey from offthegridnoz.com. Yeah, I was going to say again. Oh, actually, I just did say it. But yeah, Friday night, July, mid-July. Fire going, still alone. Carey's not home till Sunday, as I said on a few videos. Listening to a bit of U2 actually. You might not like U2, but got some good tracks. Got a bit of sunset happening in the background, bit of glow. Just as flat out as usual. Wanted to make a bit of an addition to the video I made last night, which was regarding making the jump off grid. I know I can be a little bit, not harsh, but a little bit blunt with my assessment of a lot of things. I think what I failed to mention in last night's video was, it's not an excuse. That fire's getting a bit out of control. It's hope it doesn't come near me. It's like swinging around. But yeah, it's something to do with why a lot of people don't make the jump, and why a lot of people procrastinate, and why a lot of people are all too ready to conform to the standard issue thinking, which is save the 30 grand up, all of that sort of stuff. Right? It's all to do with conformity. It's all to do with the things that stop people from making the jump off grid. And the topic that I really didn't sort of touch on last night was a lot of enlightened people. Enlightened doesn't mean you're a smart ass, it doesn't mean you're a genius, it doesn't mean anything. A lot of enlightened people made this jump off grid a long time ago, many years ago, and all they had that other people around them didn't have was the ability to see what the system around them was actually doing to them. Now, this are all the new people. You're sitting there, you might be listening to this thinking, yep, and I'm not going to repeat everything I repeated last night. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. A good track from U2 actually. Yeah, it is a good track. But yeah, what you have to realise, you guys that are sitting in your flat, sitting in your house, a bit scared, a bit afraid, not sure what to do, you have to realise that you are the result of this damn system. It's not your fault. You haven't made a mistake. You aren't in error. So you don't know how to handle a power drill, or you don't know how to plant a plant. That's nothing. I don't give a fruit which topic you touch on. It's not just like all our kids actually, and all our grandkids. They do everything right. They have jobs and they've got, you know, flash cars, and yeah, that's all good, like I said last night. But if you've got a slight awakening happening and you've got this urge to jump, you have to stop. Again, have a cup of tea, sit on your back veranda and, I'd say light a fire, but not quite that big. Sit on your back veranda and try to understand. A lot of this stuff to do with off-grid is thinking. A lot to do with thinking is self-awareness, meaning it doesn't so much matter what dickwads like me and Kerry say. I was a bit harsh then, but what people that are already off-grid say, it's really not so much to do with that. We might be a bit of an aid to you, but what you have to stop and do is stop and have that cup of tea on your own back veranda and realise that it isn't your fault. You're trapped because the system trapped you, and you're staying trapped because of the training the system has instilled in all of us. The system only trains people to do one thing. For the last bloody 50, 60 years, the system has been set up to cause people to become less reliant on themselves and more reliant on the system. So, you know, right in 2017, you can't blame anyone for sitting there with their power coming in through what they call the smart meter. Oh, Jess is playing guard dog, going to attack somebody. You can't blame people who are sitting there in their little flat or their house with their smart meter, with their Foxtel blaring, watching bullshit movies, you know, and finance to the bank, and you can't blame people for doing that. That's what the system has trained everyone to do. The point of this video is that I'd like the new people to stop take on board everything that the off-gridders like myself and Kerry try to tell you, but also take a step back and look at yourself. Not in a critical way, but in a very logical way. And try to understand that you are the result of millennia, like, you know, tens and tens of years of training. You comply to everything that is put forward in front of you because that's what you're trained to do. You are trained to think that doing anything for yourself, probably there's a damn law. Oh, another good track. Now I digress. I'm trying to ignore I've got YouTube playing on the TV outside through the internet again, as usual. How boring. But yeah, you've got to stop and take a look at yourself and step back and realise that you need to assess your own thinking. Not just make the jump blindly, thinking, oh, all these off-gridders tell us to make the jump, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's all bloody good. But you need to realise why you're doing it. And if you're having an inkling, if you're having that feeling, that itch that causes you to look up off-grid living, alternative lifestyle living, opting out of the system to some degree, if you've got that itch, stop and have a look at yourself. Shit, sit in front of the mirror with your cup of tea and realise that it's not your fault. The reason you are a little bit scared, a little bit perturbed, a little bit, you know, I'd say afraid, but that's probably not the right word. You're trained to think that what you're planning to do is unorthodox. Now, it's unorthodox because the system has trained you in a set of thinking that causes anything to do with opting out of the system to make you think twice. It makes you feel like you're stepping outside of the square, outside the box. And that's exactly what you are thinking about doing. But it's not your fault. It is the system's fault. Everyone, and I could make 5 videos on this. You should look up self-awareness and the system on YouTube. Plenty of good videos on it. But you've got to stop and realise at some point that you need to reassess your own thinking. Retrain yourself. Maybe before you make the jump. Retrain yourself so that you understand when you make the jump that it's because you understand the system that has trapped you. And that's what I missed last night. It's all very well for old farts like me to go, yeah, the system's got you by the balls. That was probably inappropriate, but it's all very good for me to say that. But maybe you need to look at yourself and take your own look at the system. The system that traps you in paperwork, it traps you in finance, it traps you in training, it traps you from your school. From the cradle to the grave, this system tries to control people. And that's just a hardcore fact. That's why everyone that steps sideways within this, and I say step sideways, I don't mean, you know, turn into an outlaw, but if you step sideways or start thinking sideways, this system could be your friends, could be the bank, could be anyone. You know, they're going to look at you and go, oh, what are you doing? And that's when you have to have an understanding of yourself. You have to understand that the reason, I've got a saying, I'm going to tell you this saying, the moment I wake up and I mean, I've lived this since I was a young teenager, and that's too long to count, right? The day I wake up and anyone says to me outside my gate, outside the proverbial bloody gate, the moment anyone says to me, oh yeah, that's really good, Steve, I'm going to start and think about what I'm doing and reassess it. Just about my whole life I have spent with people going, what are you doing, Steve? And those statements actually make me, they inspire me, they push me forward. Because the moment anyone that's trapped within this system understands what I'm doing, I know that I'm probably slipping. This system is what we have to live with, but it is horrid. It is all-consuming. It has trained us all to think in one direction and to be compliant and pay the bill and fill the form and dot the I's and cross the T's. So the moment anyone comes up to me from outside my gate and goes, oh yeah, that's really good, Steve, I think, oh shit, and they might just be looking at my plants, and then I go, oh, that's okay. But if I dare go outside my gate and talk about alternative thinking or anything that may be not in line with the system, a lot of people, they look at you strange. And that's when you know you're onto something. The moment these other people who haven't had that little tiny flick of lightning, that flick of light in their head to trigger what causes them to want to go alternative or step outside, step sideways in the system. The moment you hear somebody say something to you, remember that little light bulb in your head that went off a while ago is the reason why these people are actually going, oh, what are you doing, Brian? What are you doing, Carol? What are you doing? You know, whatever your name is. That's when you stop and you go, I know I'm onto something here. Because if you do anything in this world within this system of money and control and expectations by our so-called lawmakers, when you comply to that, you're actually becoming part of the system. And I know we're all stuck with a little bit of it, no doubting that. No one jump up and down on it. We all have to hang on to a little bit of it, otherwise we wind up behind the bars and all that stuff. Yucky poo. That's probably why that helicopter went over earlier. But yeah, alright, so that's the point. I'm not going to go on about it forever. I'd like you to just watch last night's video if you're thinking about going off grid, thinking about making a jump, thinking about doing something radical, and then maybe listen to this one and step back and look at yourself. Try to understand yourself in regard to the system that has trapped you, and think about it long enough so that you understand that what you're doing may be alternative, it may be against the flow of or against the grain of the system, but that is a good thing. Get that sorted in your head maybe before you make the jump, and then you'll cope with it a lot better. Because then when somebody comes up to you and goes, what are you doing buying a camper van, John? Well then you, John, will be able to go and rattle your plan off, and they will look at you strange, these people. When you rattle your plan off, John, and John being the example here, they will look at you strange, and John, you will know you're onto something that these people can't comprehend. And that just means that you, John, have stepped outside the system, stepped outside the control mechanism, stepped outside orthodox thinking, and you are headed down the right path. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's all getting a bit deep. Still got YouTube playing, and actually it's YouTube playing on YouTube. That's almost a tongue twister. The fire's burning down. I've got to light up. It is Friday night. Sun's going down. The dog's barking at something. I've got to go and find out what it is. It's probably a big ass kangaroo running around driving her crazy, so I should check that out. I hope you're having a good one. Hope your Friday night's going to be good. Mine's going to be damn good. I'm going to at least knock off 2 or 3 more distilled water. Even that's another whole topic, but anyway. I'm going to do that, listen to a bit of music, and I'm going to stay out here until it's really dark. Don't care if it rains. Like I said last night, when it rains, when the wind blows, when it's cold, soak it up. It's part of what the world, it's part of what man is meant to experience. We're not meant to go inside and turn the central heater on in the burbs, you know. It's all very nice to do that maybe. That's not living. That's not life. Life is actually taking the elements by their short and curlies and going, yum yum, this is good. And it may hurt a bit. No doubt, no one's going to argue that with you. People live in tin sheds when they start their journey off grid. People live in caravans. People do all sorts of lovely things, and they all suffer. There is no gain without pain. So that's it. I've probably spoken too much, as bloody usual. Gary's going to watch this. She's down Melbourne, like I said, about 5 hours away. She's going to watch this and go, ah, Steve's at it again. Well, guess what? He is, and he'll never stop. Somebody heaps of people, thousands, should be throwing this stuff up there. Throw the thinking up there. It doesn't matter whether you're a bloody intellect or a friggin' genius or whatever. You know, just normal people like myself and Kerry should throw this stuff up there to cause people to go and sit in front of their own mirror, make their cup of tea, and think about their own life. Think about them in regard to the system that has entrapped them. And then it'll make it a bit easier once you figure out what's going on around you at the moment to make that jump. Make that jump. Can't say that enough. Right, cheers from Steve. And cheers from Kerry. Well, alright. I could focus over there. Kerry's not there. I gotta go find out what the dog's barking about. So I hope you're having a good one. Like I always say, hope it's positive. Hope you're thinking in the right direction. Take a good look at yourself. Re-watch this video if you don't understand what one word of what I said. Well, actually, probably some people would say don't re-watch it. I'm an evil influence. I'm not. I'm an alternative thinker to some degree that still is trapped partially within the system like all of us. Try and help other people to understand where they are. Not just tell them to make the jump, but to understand where they are and what they're doing. And that's it. July, middle of July, Friday evening. I'm going to stoke the fire up. And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. And I'm going to listen to some more U2. All off the grid on 3 kilowatt. No power running here from the street. No water. I drink me rainwater. We suck the sun's solar power up. Cook your own veg. You know the drill. It's all good, guys. So, we'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Subscribe and like if you want, like I said. And no doubt, we'll see you on another chilly winter morning or a winter evening sometime very soon. Keep smiling. Life's good. Bye, guys.